Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Got a little break in the weather, so today I'm going to finish up the roof deck. Yesterday I started a video and I put in this piece right here, and then it started like a heavy drizzle the entire rest of the day. It was supposed to be just cloudy, but we are 600 and some feet up on a ridge. It's pretty hard to tell, but we are up on a ridge that drops off pretty steep right over there, and we were in a cloud, so it was just way too wet to continue, so that's as far as I got yesterday. So let me show you what we got here. Today, it rained early this morning. I had the fan on up until I started filming. I'm going to be putting a fan up there as well. The glue that I use it's polyurethane based, so it can handle damp wood. It actually makes things stick better if it's damp, so that's not a problem. I'm priming the edges of this with oil-based paint, so that wants it to be dry, but these panels were in the greenhouse, so they are pretty dry. So I got to cut on this piece. I got to cut it to width. These are narrower than a full sheet, and I have to take a bit off the length there and get the edges primed. Then I gotta wait a little bit. While I'm waiting, I have a detail that goes from the last panel under where the foam is on the existing structure, and I'll show you that in a little bit. It's a little beveled piece of wood that's gonna finish off the roof deck. I have to cut 4 pieces of that. So I'll do that while this paint is drying. Then get that panel up, and then there's one more panel, and that is going to have to be cut on 2 edges as well. So I'm hoping I pre-cut it to the length of the last one. Hopefully that's correct. But I still have to cut it to width, so I'm going to get that painted up and do something else while that dries. I got a lot of detailing to do. I got to go over the whole thing and make sure there's no screws sticking out, and hit any bulging OSB, hit that with the sander. I got a bunch of sander. Any bulges of glue I got to get off of there. I got to get this thing nice and clean. And then later today it's going to, or I think overnight it's going to rain. Let me look at my, yeah, I usually have it in my notes. Yeah, we have 1.77 inches of rain overnight. What that usually means around here is about 4 inches of rain. I'll check it out on the rain gauge afterwards, but there's going to be a lot of rain. So hopefully, we'll see how this does. I mean, there's an 1/8 of an inch gap in between each board. So, there's plenty of place for the water to go. I just hope it doesn't swell too much, but it should be okay. All right, and then what's the rest of our days look like? Then showers on Wednesday, 0.28 inches, which again is going to kind of suck. Then Thursday is just cloudy, but it has over 20-mile-an-hour winds, and those are coming from the northeast. So hopefully that dries it off, and I can do whatever I need to get done during this time, And if the roof, or if the deck up there is as far as I can take it, the wind will be coming from that way. So maybe I can start getting foam on here. I don't want to waste the day just, if it's a windy day but no rain, I want to get some foam or something on. There's no way I'll be able to put the rubber roof on that day. Okay, and then we have Friday, which is the day I was hoping to get the rubber roof on. But if that fails, there's 4 days in a row Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, where it's just partly cloudy and not a lot of wind. So within these days here, I hope to get the rubber roof on, and either all of the foam or nearly all of the foam. The foam should go pretty quick, so, well, yeah, I shouldn't say that. Nothing goes pretty quick, but I have the bevel cut on all of the foam pieces and have them cut to width. So it goes up underneath that wood up there and then comes down to here. Those are already pre-cut. This right here has a bevel going down, and then it has a notch at the bottom, a rabbet that goes over that treated wood ledger. Those are already cut for both sides. And then on the end here, we have the piece, I have full pieces cut. It's just 2 pieces that have the bevel cut for up underneath there. So with this foam, it's just putting the glue on, put the panel in place, and then put some blocking on there to hold it tight against the structure until the glue dries. And they're very light, so it's relatively easy to work with. But at some point, you really can't put the ladder up against it. You kinda can. Like on this one with the padded ends, if you were to lightly put it on there, not at a real steep angle, put your panel up and then put your ladder up against it to kind of hold it in place while you go up and throw some cleats on there. I think that's how we did some of the higher panels on the house. Kind of hard to remember. That was in 2011, so, but I'll figure it out. Okay, so the first thing I got to do is get this cut to width and length, paint the edges, and then toad. I like toads. Great insect eaters. Get this cut. I'll show you what I am making for up there for the transition to the house, and then I'll go cut those. Okay, I got my first piece cut. No sense in wasting a lot of time showing that. I'll show you this. I do believe this sheet right here was out of square. I mean, every other sheet went in perfect. The next sheet and the sheet before it went in perfect. But for some reason, I had a hellacious gap on there. But anyways, let me get up here. It's almost time to get rid of all this staging up here. All it's doing is getting in the way now and holding water on the deck. It's going to be 85 today and incredibly humid. So we have to have this going. I really should switch it to another window, but I just don't have the time. But we got a real nice wind, which is drying stuff off, but it's not drying as well up against the house because it's coming from, the wind is coming at an angle. So I'm going to have to get rid of all these sheets here. Take this off. This is what was keeping the water from going behind the foam. These are what's going to go in its place. Hopefully they're wide enough. I want to heavily glue this edge, press it against the OSB, and then it'll sit. I left half of the stud there, just like a regular panel, so it just has the expansion gap, and then that will be sealed off. I'll seal off the end as well. And then when I put the rubber on there, this has a 5-degree bevel. Not sure if you can see that or not. So the rubber will go up at a 5-degree and then come up and stop under here. This actually will get foam back over the rubber, but it's not going to be like attached to the rubber. It's going to be attached to the back of the furring strips. I'll show you that when I get to it. But for right now, we got to take this temporary stuff off. See, this has to be done by the end of the day because the big rain comes tomorrow. And I need another bucket because this is dripping in the 2 spots. So it's just a pain in the butt. I got to make sure water doesn't get into my joint as I pull this off. Probably should get my... Yeah, we have... These hornets are everywhere. It's the end of the year for them, and they're constantly flying into your face, along with the flies. So it's a real pain in the ass time of year. If you watched last year's videos, I think I showed, yeah, see, there's another one. If you watched last year's videos, I think I showed the Asian beetle invasion we get every year. We get thousands and thousands, some years worse than others, and they cover the whole side of the house. And we have to use a spray called, what is that, bug slayer. You put it in a sprayer, like a garden sprayer. It's a concentrate. You mix it up and spray your siding, and it kills them. It's Asian beetles and box elder bugs. Just thousands of them. And that happens as soon as they start cutting the soybeans. So I really need to get this much further along before that happens, because that is just disgusting. Alright, I'm right next to this AC, so it's going to be a bit loud. Okay, I get a fan on that and get another bucket up here. Then I'll continue on to the next panel. I'll get the panel that's cut and painted, I'm going to get that up, put in, and start on the next panel so that can be drying. And then I'll come back and start putting these in. Hopefully I don't get a big gust that wants to take this stuff off of here. But you can see it was only covered there, and it's still quite wet over here, so the wind is not drying it off there. So hopefully it is by the time I get back here. Okay, that's perfect. But it's not a perfect fit, but it's going to work perfect. I have to cut this to size, so I'll do the fitting and cutting to size a little bit later while that next panel is drying. But I was hoping it wouldn't be too narrow, because I just cut a 2x6.5 that had some, well, 2 chunks of a 2x6 were cut in half to get roughly 2 3/4, and I was hoping that would be enough for all these. Some of them are a little bit wider, I think. It's pretty even. So I'll cut it to whatever width it needs to be. This is 23/32, the same as the OSB, and then it just goes up at 5 degrees. So whatever it is, it'll make a real nice taper, and it'll make sure water doesn't sit underneath the foam right here. Okay, let's get that panel installed. Okay, so that one's in. I think I'm done with this fan up on the roof. I think that's all dry up there. But I just turned this and then I turned it off so it wouldn't be so loud. But I had it on this area for a couple hours now. And before, this would be all nice and dry, but now that we're in the shade and there's so much water in here, and well, it's really, really humid outside. It just takes forever to dry. You can see where the sun gets in through the door, it's drying out, but everywhere else, not so much. But this place will be sealed in very soon. All right, now while that dries, I have to cut back the foam, just like over there. Get rid of some of this temporary stuff. I gotta foam in them holes up there. Generally get that stuff ready. I need to do that stuff before the panel goes in because I ride the knife on the top of the truss there. So, let me get that done. And then I'm gonna get this in right after that. And then I'll go do lunch and then come back and put them last pieces up against the wall. Okay, that'll about wrap it up. Got a beautiful view from up here. My prairie grasses look gorgeous. I can't wait till this whole area is prairie grass. It's going to be awesome. Okay, edge boards. They're all in. They're glued to the OSB here. 1/8-inch gap for expansion of the panels here. And they're glued to the last stud is right in the center here. So they're nailed and glued to that, glued to the OSB on the house, and they cover the foam layer. When this is done, there'll be a foam layer that continues down, and then the siding will go down to about here. This gets capped off with some trim pieces in the end. I'll show you how everything goes together when I do that. That's going to have to wait till next summer. This year, the rubber is going to go up and under here, and then it gets a termination bar up under there. This piece broke when I was taking it off. I saved the piece. I'm going to glue it back on. So that's that. This goes all the way down. Everything went pretty good, except you can see this piece in the stack of OSB that was over there that Menard sent me. There was two like this that were a year older than the rest of it here and made by a different company. When I put it in, there was no way to get this thing in there straight. And then I found out afterwards that it's it's misshapen. It was like sawn wrong or something. Got a bevel here. I mean, everything else, this end works just fine. You know, every single gap is pretty much perfect except for that one. So, I mean, I've screwed up panels before, but I didn't screw this one up. This is a screwed up panel, but it's okay. I think I might shim that a little bit because I don't want that much of a gap when I put the rubber on here. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll just wedge some shim in there along that edge. I'll cut a taper on the table. I'll cut a tapered piece on the table saw. Take some shims and shim it tight against this side, and with some glue, and then just belt sand it flush. But other than that, everything went just beautiful. Everything's foamed up and sealed up and ready for the rain. Last I saw, they raised the amount of rain. It's over 2 inches, 2.3 something. I think I said it earlier what it was. Who knows if we'll get it or not. This time of year we're prone to have huge rains and a bit of flooding, so we'll see. Don't flood here, but down below they get hit really hard. So the sun is, I'm trying to see without falling. The sun is down. It's behind the trees. So I'm wrapping things up for the day. So here's my view of the oak savanna. You can see how much I got to clear this out, all this little dead stuff and little trees under here, but it's going to look awful nice once it's done. And then this road, that's going to look really nice once I get this. This is oats that's growing on it right now, so it won't have that real tall grass like that. It'll be a regular, the road will be mowed. Then eventually this will have an addition behind here, and I'll show you how that's going to be. There'll still be a view, but it'll just be a different view. The view the other way, all them little trees right there have been hacked and squirted. They're dying back. And at some point, my wood shop will be right there. But I'll be able to see all the way into there, and that big white oak is right over there, Bigfoot. A lot of this stuff will be cleared out, and it's going to be it'll be an awesome view. And these damn garbage cans are going to have a place to go over here with a lid and all that stuff. I don't even know what to call it, but a garbage can house. That's what it is. So there were 2 of these at the bottom of the stack. The one at the very bottom of the stack was starting to delaminate because it, had the moisture up underneath it. I probably should have put some plastic down, but I didn't. But we had, and I think it's this, no, it is actually this one. The one that looks like all the other ones. No, it is this one. This brighter colored one. This was down in the haymow down there, the North Haymow. It was left over from when I made the mezzanine out in the shed, so it was nice to use it up and not have to run to town. So what's left up here? Well, I got them marked out. I marked out the scuppers. There's one right there, one in the middle, and one towards the other end. I'll show you the copper scuppers. I believe I showed them before, but I'll show you once more before I sign off. Cat thinks she's gonna get up on the roof by climbing the ladder. She's mistaken. Okay, here is the scuppers. Like I said last time, these go through a hole in that parapet wall. Once the rubber is in, you have the holes pre-cut for this to go through the wall. You have the holes pre-cut. You just slice around the hole, push that rubber down, push this through the hole until this is up against the parapet wall. This is on the deck, and then you nail this in with copper nails, and then you seal the edges. Easier said than done. And there's 3 of them here. These cost about $1 million. Now, I have no idea what they cost, but they're not, anything copper is not cheap. But it lasts forever and it looks really cool once it patinas. I'm gonna let her in because she's got a big mouth. Okay, that'll wrap it up for today. I think the rubber roof is next, but whatever it is, it'll be interesting. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon so you're notified when I post new videos. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. I generally answer all comments. And if you give us a thumbs up and or share the video, it helps the channel greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.